Hello everyone, and today I've got the most incredible guest, Gary Das. So I'm just going to bring him into the broadcast. Gary is a mortgage broker, he's a professional speaker, an author, a coach. Thank you for being on Brilliant Speaker today, Gary. I really appreciate your time and sharing all your knowledge with our audiences.
Thanks for having me, Mark.
You're very welcome. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Please feel free to share the broadcast. If you've got any questions, do type them in and show us some love when you see things that you enjoy and what you're taking away. So that brings me to my first question, Gary. Can you share your story and what brings you to being a mortgage broker, a professional speaker, a coach, author, and an entrepreneur?
Yeah, of course. So I've been in mortgages now since 2003. Taking myself back to that time 15 years ago, it was probably more money more than anything else that brought me to the industry. But having had a series of jobs, my dad said to me, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And my dad said, why don't you go and work for a bank? And as it happened, I started at the Woolwich in Chelmsford, and they put me on the till, and I was good at getting referrals over to people open their accounts. And then I went and did that job, and I was good at getting referrals over to the mortgage advisor. And one day the guy just said to me, do you want to become a mortgage advisor? So that was where I started my qualification. And then they put me in a little piddly branch in the middle of nowhere called Southwood and Ferries. And there was, let's just say, the age of the person walking in my branch didn't want a mortgage. So to cut a long story short, I had various jobs, dotted here, there, and everywhere. And I went to work for a new company in Chelmsford in 2005, and we grew that quite substantially, quite quickly in the course of 12 months. So I then set up on my own. It was at the beginning of when you could buy leads and names and numbers off of the internet. So I went self-employed a month after moving out into my first home. As a mortgage broker in 2006. So that was kind of the beginning. Had 2 years on my own, and then we had the credit crunch, and the rug was pulled out from underneath me. So I then diversified very quickly to do life insurance, critical illness, income protection. Grew that business to a team of 12, but in 2015 had sort of my biggest mistake in business was I bought all my leads and names and numbers from third parties. So in 2015, I had no control over the types of clients that were coming through my door. I had no control over, the sales guys, and I'd let a few things slip. And business became quite difficult, but equally we'd had a good trading year. There was no customer loyalty. So there was a few negatives going with the positives. And in July, I decided to move home, having had 2 previous self-certified mortgages, which means you could sign a piece of paper to say this is the mortgage I could get. And I just found it immensely difficult. I was a limited company director. My wife was a sole trader. Majority of the clients that I had been looking after were really old ones who had stuck with me, and they were just easy kind of maintaining their existing rates and things. And I just saw the opportunity to get back to mortgages in sort of October 2015. So in the space of 3 months, I spoke to all my team, downsized with them amicably, went from a team of 12 to a team of 3. And on January 16, I reopened as sort of the self-employed mortgage, was what we coined and focused on. And then it's kind of snowballed from there. So I found my niche, and I looked onto internet marketing was the one thing that I did. I knew I didn't want to buy my leads, names and numbers from third parties anymore. So I just started researching and learning about, how to generate leads, how to use social media. I saw in the fitness industry, people like Jamie Alderton, absolutely smashing the fitness scene and sort of making a bit of a name for himself and building his brand around him. And I realized, hang on, why can't I do that in the mortgage industry? So I just started to post content, started to attend networking events where there was business owners and talking about self-employed mortgages. And then fast forward 2.5 years, I've written a book. I've spoken in front of 250 people. I spoke last week in front of 50 people. And kind of I've been on several of these different types of chats on Facebook now, and slowly but surely it's all starting to roll on.
Well, what a great journey you're on, and life gives us up and down sometimes. It definitely sounds like you've had an up and down bit of a road. What a great end destination you're heading to, and all the things you're doing now is absolutely amazing, Gary.
Yeah, it's to be honest, what I kind of, I'm not privy to saying it really, but where I existed from 2009 until 2015, within my friends, within my family, within my team, in quite a small knit environment where I took it quite easy, to a certain degree, there was an element of social anxiety there in doing it. But I knew that, having watched things with Tony Robbins and being quite into personal development, that I wanted to get outside my comfort zone. So the first course I ever did was NLP in February 2016, with a company called NLP Dynamics and Steve Payne, and that changed my life really, and it threw me outside my comfort zone, and that's kind of the moral of what I've done every week. I just want to push myself that little bit more to keep growing.
Well, it's good that you've worked on yourself. Personal development is so important. I'm always self-developing, and it's
Yeah.
an ongoing journey, and it leads you to great things, which you're doing great things too. Sorry about that. The broadcast froze for a little bit. That brings me
Good old internet.
that brings me to my next question. Now, you're a true example of how to use your voice to build your business. This is why I wanted to interview you, Gary. Your social media, your branding, using your voice to build your business. You have got this spot on. Can you share a little bit about that? How using your voice can help to grow your business, and what has that done for you?
Yeah, I think well, it's completely changed my business in essence, because I was, 3 years ago, I was spending £20,000 a month on buying leads, names and numbers that I had absolutely no control over, supplying a team of 12, or an advising team was smaller, but a whole team of 12. And now today I'm pretty much earning the same amount of money with a team of 3. And I'm speaking to people on a daily basis who I like. I'm not spending anything on lead generation at the present time. It's all organic. It's all been from just sharing valuable content is really all I've tried to do. And it started with when I was speaking to people in 2016, I was thinking, right, can I get a mortgage with 1 year's accounts? Right, I'll write about that. Can I, how much can I borrow? Okay, I'll write about that. And it was almost whatever somebody was asking me on the phone, I just started to post about. And then, having done Key Person of Influence in 2016, which was another big influence on my journey, they talk about building your profile, and I knew that video was something I wanted to do. So I just got my phone out, as we are now, and stuck a £10 Amazon mic in it, and just answered those same questions on Facebook. And I've just stuck to the same ethos of answering as much as I can and giving away my best content in essence.
I like the way that you get the questions, what people are asking, and then you make content out of it. That's really good, because you're serving exactly what your audience want to hear. And so that's a great way of doing it. And I really like how you do your social media, how you do your videos. You're very consistent too. Please, everyone, can you share some love for Gary? He's sharing all his wisdom today. Please share the broadcast, or show us some hearts in the comments to show your appreciation. That brings me to my next question, Gary. I see you're speaking quite a lot on platforms, on stages. Can you share a few tips, what you've got for speaking success?
Ooh. I haven't done it enough to go in deep as much as you have, but I think preparation is the key. Practicing what you want to say. I can always remember I didn't practice my wedding speech as much as I should have done, and I was reading that. So that kind of haunts me in some respects, which means that I do bullet point it out and practice a lot. I haven't got to the stage where it's comfortable yet. I don't know if you've got tattoos, Mark, have you?
One that I'm not proud of.
We've all got one of them. But essentially, I described it, the first time I did it, I described it as being tattooed. You sit there in the chair, anxious as anything leading up to it. You're then walking up and you're almost a little bit, ooh. You then get on stage and it just roller coasters, but you know that you need to get through it. And you sort of grin and bear the pain, and you lose a little bit of your words and everything else. And then when you come off, you vow never you want to do it again. And you wake up the next day and go, I'm going to do that again. You know, it's just a case of you've got to do it, I think. And it's one of those things that, to me, anything that challenges me and pushes me outside my comfort zone is something I need to do more of.
Well, you picked up on some great points there. It really is true. You do dread getting up on that stage the first few times you start speaking. But as soon as you break through that comfort zone and you've delivered your speech, the adrenaline rush that you get, it's just so worth it. And as you've said, it's all about being prepared too. So that's a great tip. And also, Gary, I think that's a really good excuse to renew your wedding vows to your wife, so you can deliver your speech again using all your new techniques.
2 more years next March 26th. I vowed I'd do it after 10 years. So,
well, we're all watching you now. Please, everyone, share the broadcast. Let's get this content out to as many people as possible. Please show your love for Gary. If you've got any questions, please type them in and we'll do our best to answer them. Hi, Raymond. Hello. Hi, Philip Capon. Thank you for watching. That brings me to my next question, Gary. I speak about self-leadership and transformation. Can you tell me your take on self-leadership and transformation? What does it mean to you?
Can I do them in reverse?
You can do them in whatever order you
like. I think transformation is essentially what I went through really 2 years ago. I think it's identifying where you perhaps have flaws and then working on those areas the most. I think it is continually getting outside of your comfort zone, because that's where you grow. You know, I'm sure most of you have seen the image online and everything else, and it's, you know, behind the scenes, and Facebook has a need of making everything look absolutely perfect, but you know, behind the scenes there's an iceberg, and it's tough, and there's points where you doubt yourself and everything else, and you still just have to put it out there and just still keep doing it. So I think transformation comes from keep being consistent over a long period of time and getting outside your comfort zone. The next one was
self-leadership.
Self-leadership. I think the two definitely go hand in hand. You know, when I think about my darkest times and the toughest times, when I've had to make my biggest decisions, you know, I always give my night. Again, you're consistent with yourself, you manage your own thoughts, but in terms of that self-leadership, you need to surround yourself with the right people that are going to give you the right, honest answers. Because in doing that, I feel like I'm somebody who can take the thoughts of others, but still makes up my own mind from those thoughts. And you're always learning, and you just have to continue to keep pushing forward. And you either want to take that role or you don't, and it's going to come with some criticism. You can't please everybody. There's balance in everything. So you just have to stay true to yourself throughout the whole thing, and that's as much as I try to do.
I really like that. You gave some great takes on it, and stepping outside of your comfort zone is a really big one, and always keep on working on yourself. So I really like your take on that. So thank you for answering that, Gary. Hi, Kirsty. Thank you for watching the broadcast. Please, everyone, share the broadcast, type in any questions, and if you could share the broadcast, that would be amazing. That brings me to my next question, Gary. Can you tell us about your book for the self-employed mortgage?
Yeah, of course. So, as I say, the mortgage business, or the self-employed mortgage, came from personal experience back in 2015. I went to my bank and was told the elusive no, that so many self-employed people here. And it's because when you go to one company, it's like trying to put a square peg in a round hole. You know, it doesn't mean that you can't do it. It just means that that particular company can't do it for you in the way that you need it done. So having had the no from my bank, because I was left profit within the business and didn't withdraw all my profit, they would only consider salary and dividends. I then started ringing around the whole of the, you know, every single lender throughout the whole of the UK to find the lenders that would be willing to consider my circumstances. You know, my wife was a sole trader as well, so we had two of us, limited company director and a sole trader. After 3 days of speaking to everybody, I found a whole plethora of things that are around for self-employed people. Had my mortgage offered after quite a few fights within 17 days. And then that's when we moved in October, and I took the decision to downsize. And then as I started to promote it and speak to thousands, what is now thousands of self-employed people, I just started to collate the journey that I went through with the experience of the clients that I'd been speaking to, with the key problems that clients do face. And it all came back to a little bit of a coaching model in my eyes, is the way I look at it. And I just basically put that into a book. So my belief is, you know, if you're self-employed and you want to buy a house and you want to spend, whether you want to move, whether you want to buy your £1 million home, think about it in the sense of, right, I'm not going to do this today, but if I reverse engineer and say, right, April 19, April 20, I know that I want to move. Right, how do I do that? You can read the book, or you can work out and say, right, I know that I need my salary to be 150 grand, or my net profit and my salary, or my salary and my dividends, or even my wage. You know, if you're not in the job that pays you the money you need to be in, then go and get the bloody job that pays you the money that you need to earn to get the house that you want. But in knowing that, you can then reverse engineer everything. You can get your credit report in order, you can get your bank statements in order. And that's kind of how I just wrote the book, was to help people get prepared for the move that they ultimately want to make.
It is a real problem for self-employed people to get mortgages as well. So it's great that you are there to help all those people who can't get the answers, what they need, because I know it is difficult to get a mortgage when you are self-employed. So I definitely feel having someone like you is absolutely amazing to answer all of those questions. Gary, would you drop the link to the book in the comment section once you have finished the interview today, in case anyone wants to grab their copy of it? So that brings
great stuff.
That brings me to my next question. What's new for Gary? What are you working on right now?
Yeah, so what's new? Well, having gone through the level of personal development that I have over the last couple of years, you know, I spent £100,000 on personal development over the last 2.5 years. I kind of saw that my marketing budget that I was spending was going to be my method of how I could learn. So I've learned how to generate free leads online. I've learned a hell of a lot, probably more in the last 2.5 years about business than I did in my first 10 years in business, shall we say. So I kind of known, because I was almost a sole trader, although I had my PA and I had marketing assistants, I felt like a sole trader. I was a lonely individual in the mortgage world, sort of 2016, 2017, that I knew the problems from old, when I was, you know, employed and when I did mortgages and having grown a team and everything else. I knew that it was quite lonely as a mortgage advisor. And essentially what I did was I procrastinated over a long period of time. I thought about this idea probably 12 months ago. But as of May this year, I launched a UK mortgage professional Facebook group. Today, we've hit 250 in the group since May. I'm holding a UK professional mastermind for mortgage advisors on the 15th of November. So I've got 10 signed up. And really, I want to sort of help and develop mortgage advisors now and teach them some of the things that I have learned, and, you know, how to market, how to brand themselves correctly, and really just to spend more time around that area. But, you know, I'm a mortgage advisor who is also a coach in some respects, I suppose. I love helping people. It's why I like mortgages. I like developing other people. I see myself as a bit of a give me a problem and I will always find the solution. I can't help it. It is what I thrive on. So we'll see where that pans out in the next 12 months, I suppose. I'm looking at my targets and my goals now for next year.
Well, it sounds like you've got lots of exciting things in your pipeline and lots of new projects. Also, if you do want to share the group link in the comments, if anyone wants to join the group, you can pop them in too. And also, if there is anyone watching who knows any mortgage advisors, please share this broadcast to them so that they can get to see this amazing content, and they may just need someone like Gary to help them move their business forwards. If you've got any questions, type them in, because we can always answer them at the end of the broadcast. Please share the broadcast, show us some hearts. So that brings me...
It's all my friends watching, Mark, so that's why I'm not getting any hearts.
I'm sure that they're sending lots of love through the screen. That brings me to my next question, Gary. How can people follow you? How can people connect with you if they want to do business or they want to get some advice from you?
So I'm always, everything on social media, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube is all Gary Das. So I've kept it nice and simple. You said earlier how I'm consistent on social media. I wouldn't be able to do that without Jack, who helps me a great deal with that side of things. But I do answer all my messages myself. There's no robots or anything else involved. Just occasionally Jack helps me with a few little bits and bobs. But yeah, Gary Das, absolutely everywhere on social.
Well, we have got Ross Jones showing some love. I think he may be one of your friends showing you some hearts. And so everyone, please connect with Gary. He knows everything about what self-employed mortgage is. He's also a great speaker, coach, entrepreneur, and he's a really top man. So Gary, thank you so much for being my guest today. I really appreciate it. We've got Beiju. So, hi Beiju. We both know Beiju.
Hi Beiju.
Thank you for watching, Beiju. You'll have to come back on if you've missed some of the broadcast. Thank you so much, Gary, for being my guest today. I really appreciate it. Share your link of your book, share your community, and I really appreciate you being my guest today.
Pleasure, Mark. Hopefully we'll jump on stage together at some point.
I am sure we will do.
You can show me how it's done.
You take care and we'll speak soon. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Cheers, mate, too. And until next time,
thanks, guys,
bye
for
for
watching.
now.